We live in an absolutely unique time in history. One of the things that makes the early 21st century absolutely unique, and not in a good way, there's been the breakdown of the family.
The left is all about undermining the family so that they can institutionalize their new world agenda.
What Marx said, if you look at his manifesto, the Communist Manifesto, he said, we must destroy the family.
There is an ever-present threat seeking to destroy the family in America today. What is behind this attack on one of the most important pillars of society?
Why destroy the family? Because it is the bastion of private wealth. If you want to destroy wealth, you got to destroy the family that passes it on and creates a legacy. That's how wealth is controlled, is through the family. So attack the family.
And here's the dark, insidious, frankly unsettling presupposition of Marxism or any of the other progressive socialist ideologies. In a Marxist, secular, atheistic worldview, if there is a utopia, we can usher it in, and we must. And we must deal with those who stand in the way of the utopia that we're creating. That can be very dark.
The strategy to dismantle the family in America is very clear. Simply look at the 1958 book, The Naked Communist. The author, Cleon Skousen, lists 45 of the current communist goals. Goal 26 reads, present homosexuality, degeneracy, and promiscuity as normal, natural, and healthy. Goal 41 reads, emphasize the need to raise children away from the negative influence of parents. Attribute prejudices, mental blocks, and retarding of children to suppressive influence of parents.
And we know that the breakdown of the marriage culture has been the fuel for the demand side of abortion. Non-marital sex increases the rise of crisis pregnancies that frequently result in abortion. And so a bad vision of marriage places more children at risk.
But what is abortion? It's the intentional killing of a group of human beings that stand in the way of something we want. Now, we don't like to refer to it as that, but if we're actually very honest, abortion itself has its roots in eugenics, which is what was involved in the Holocaust. From the very beginning, the abortion movement, going all the way back to Margaret Sanger, we know part of her goal was to exterminate minorities and what she referred to as weeds, useless population groups.
Planned Parenthood, if you go back to its founder, Margaret Sanger, the woman who gave birth to it, it was always about eugenics. Margaret Sanger presented her work to the KKK, the Ku Klux Klan, and so there are pictures of her talking with them, and she referred to immigrants and blacks and certain people as human weeds.
Another method of attack comes in the form of labeling anyone who disagrees with a certain viewpoint as a bigot, hater, or homophobe. For instance, look at what is happening within the transgender movement.
Now, for instance, gender, male and female. Males are XY chromosome males, and that's undeniable, it's unchangeable. We live in a time where in America and the West, people really don't even have the moral courage to say, this is a man, that is a woman. And in fact, if you insist on believing in what we call a binary view of gender, male and female, you're called a hater, transphobic, a number of pejorative names.
Well, the resolve of the radical LGBTQ movement is not the end game of just treat us the same, live and let live. That is not their objective. Their agenda is to vilify the opposition, silence them, and to destroy them. So they think they'll be happy and satisfied when they are silenced and destroyed. That is their end resolve. And until that's accomplished, we will not see any relief against persecuting Christians and people in churches and ministries proclaiming the good news of Jesus Christ and the hope of transformation through faith in Jesus Christ as promised by God's Word.
And the transgender movement presses onward, with some states even teaching curriculums on transgenderism to young children. sometimes starting in kindergarten all the way up through the universities.
It is a literal spiritual genocide that, as I speak, is taking place. It is so twisted with the radical LGBTQ to young children all the way down to kindergarten, convincing them that they can change their gender with all kinds of hideous sexual explanations of things that the average person hasn't even thought of. This material is very dangerous.
When we send our best and brightest off to colleges and universities, what they're encountering is an indoctrination that is very harmful, I believe, because it's not teaching young people how to think. They're not learning how to think. They're learning the politically correct answer to just about every issue in society. And you think about it, it's scary because they're going to be the leaders of tomorrow, and they're growing up or being indoctrinated in a culture where they're being told that biology means nothing, that, you know, there's no such thing as biological differences between males and females, or you can be whatever you think you are.
Despite the happy face that many on the left try to put on a biological male becoming a supposed female, or vice versa, family members of transgenders can see the reality.
When I was 9 years old with my dad, I was in the kitchen actually doing dishes, and he had asked for me to come out and sit with him, said that he had something to say, and he just had said to me his desire to become a woman and how he had struggled with this from the time that he was a little boy. So as a 9-year-old girl, in my mind I'm just thinking, why is he telling this to me? I didn't understand, and immediately I just thought, can anybody else see, you know, that he's hurting? When my father had told me that, I immediately actually started to look somewhere else for a father, because I thought, if he, you know, he's not there, who's going to teach this little girl, you know, what to look for in a man when it comes to dating and a husband and getting married, and what does that look like? The world can tell us to look at our gender and that we decide who we're going to be, but in a sense, I see that as rebellion towards our Creator. God is the designer of who we are.
Many experts are seeing the transgender movement as the tip of the spear today in terms of the far left's agenda to destroy the family.
They're not going to have a revolution over economics, but we still want that world. So we're going to do it through a cultural mechanism. We're going to fight the battle by redefining. So the methods are not changed. We have to destroy the family. We have to do what Lenin said. We have to secure the commanding heights of culture so that the artillery we fire from the mountaintops is our artillery.
We saw it in the past. We saw it in the Soviet Union, Joseph Stalin. We've seen it with Mao Zedong in China, even Adolf Hitler in Germany. It was all about, give us the children and we will reshape the future. That mindset is the same mindset, unfortunately, that we see being practiced by the far left in the United States. And it's a serious threat to civil rights and civil liberties.